chance to be ruthless.
Hey kid, don't ever let them get inside your head. They'll tell you what to do in life instead of everything you know that you could get. Don't let them guide your life towards regret. I'll fight for what I love with every breath. My past is filled with things I won't forget. I use them all to push me to my best. So treat the worst of times just like a test. If only I could go back in time, I'd tell myself that everything will end up alright. Just push yourself, test yourself, figure out what you like, and find your limits, don't be rigid, always work towards a prime. Surround yourself with open minds, people can change your life. A few friends with intent can help you feel alive. Find a passion, take some action, and with a little time, just be patient, make a statement, try to enjoy your life. They'll try to kick you while you're down. They wanna rise up while you drown. They wanna fill your head with doubt. They're silently scared that you'll figure it out. I'll make it look like I'm losing, won't bother hiding my bruises. And when they finally think you're wounded, then it's your chance to be ruthless.
Future and living situation and family and goals and money and all, we've swirled around all those kinds of things. So now another thing that a high value man, we'll do this man to man, is thinking about is the context, wait for it, monogamy. Okay, so what does monogamy look like for a high value man? So first, we'll have our fast little discussion about monogamy. So a lot of things would happen in monogamy. About 70 to 80% of all men, we'll just start with men, are non-monogamous. And they're non-monogamous for a variety of reasons. So, high-value men, LGBTSGL men, and monogamy. So the discussion we've had before about monogamy, and when I teach about monogamy, and when I talk about that in general, and you can look at this, and you can look at this very simply by looking out your window and seeing there are so many people, is that monogamy is a social construct, and monogamy was created to transfer property and to, in some ways, assure parentage, lineage, as well as give women a level of control into the fact that they needed a man for resources and work and taking care of the family, remember the tribes and farms and all that kind of stuff. So the men also needed assurances that that's my child before DNA testing, so that my legacy, lineage, generational wealth passes through to my children. So that's basically what monogamy is for. And the structure of monogamy, the social construct of monogamy, has been cast into marriage. So that's why there's a marriage contract. Marriage, prior to about 100, 150 years ago, had nothing to do with love. It was great if you liked each other, but it really was a contract around monogamy, around support for women and children, and around men's assurance of legacy and parentage and lineage. So what does this have to do in an LGBTSGL context, particularly for high-value men? Men who are a man, I'll throw this out, this is easiest, a man is able to be as sexual as his options or his resources. So if you are single, you can basically screw around. You can have fun, that's where we get our fun playmate people from, or you can choose special, which only falls into the context of spouse, partner, marriage. So when we talk about being single and having fun, you're being non-monogamous. You might date and you might only be with that one person for a while, but you don't necessarily have a responsibility to monogamy. So why would an LGBT/SGL man be monogamous? It's not if one can be monogamous, because monogamy is a form of choice, but why would they be? So what happens, we're going to do a quick science here. Testosterone. Testosterone is the jet fuel of manness. Women also have it, but you only have more estrogen than do testosterone, except for the big scary woman. So, part of what testosterone does is it's the push for verve, for activity, for sex, for drive, for desire, for impulse. That's what testosterone is. Testosterone is this. When you are not being slightly tampered by an estrogen, let's call it field or reaction from women, so there's less women generally in same-sex relationships of men, there's more testosterone happening. Between two men, there's more just testosterone just happening, which is why if two men live together, testosterone heightens, and let's say someone's sex drive was normally a 6, and they move in with somebody, or they're moving together and they all love each other and stuff like that, that sex drive can go as high as a 7 or an 8, because that other man's testosterone of his 6 or his 7 or maybe his 9 is pushing up the other one from a 6 to like a 7. But it may not be the same for the other one. The other one might be more committed to the idea or social construct of monogamy. So he wants to be a 9, but just with that person. But Bob and Ted, Bob is 6, is getting pushed up to an 8, and Bob's like, hey. And there is a level of satisfaction and oxytocin and stuff that we exude when we're in relationships and we're having sex regularly that other people pick up on, which is why people in relationships tend to be more attractive. Also, when they talk about they're in a relationship, you're like, oh, well, he's stable. He knows how to be interactive and interconnective in a relationship. Where you meet somebody single, you're kind of, he's cute, but he might be crazy. There's a reason why he's single. So, Bob now has his testosterone level heightened, and he's become more attractive. Ted's already been high, but he wants to focus it on Bob mostly. So what they have to do is they have to negotiate what monogamy looks like. We need to put, even though it starts with an M, an N before monogamy. Negotiate monogamy. There's no absolute monogamy. There's no biological impulse to monogamy. There is consciousness choice to monogamy. There is thinking about, I want to do this. Heterosexual men have the threat of disease, children, unwanted pregnancies, unwanted relationships, drama that comes from non-monogamy. LGBTSGL men have drama and diseases, pretty much, that come from non-monogamy. The third one that's kind of being incorporated now, it's kind of like a blossom, a flower that's kind of bursting through the ground, is consideration of your partner's feelings. So in that consideration, let me push the heteros aside, we can bring up a negotiation. Now, just snapping heterosexual back for a while, some of that might be bisexuality. LGBT, SGL men who are in a relationship with a man might want to have sex with a woman. I will tell you this, and I will tell that I've even experienced this, and I will tell you even I don't personally ascribe to any of the LGBTSG or L in that, though it is a label moniker that I use. I ascribe to omnisexual because I've had both relationships with women and relationships with men, and I can see the possibility of A or B if I'm not committed to A or B, and I can even see the possibility, when we get into polyamory, of A and B, and maybe C, maybe 2 Bs, maybe 2 As, 3 Bs. I can see all of that. I can emotionally, intellectually, sexually see all of those things. That doesn't mean that I haven't been in committed relationships with singular persons, singular sex, and gender presentation at a time. It just means that I'm like, it's like being able to fit different clothing. Oh, I could wear that. Oh, I could wear that. Oh, I like that. The possibility is open. So, you, particularly with a high-value man, will have to be open to that possibility. That they might be more sexual, bisexual, pansexual, omnisexual, include more into their sexuality. I will say one of the reasons why this happens has to do with the level of resources and education. The more you travel, the more you do, the more people you meet, the bigger your buffet kind of becomes because you've had more exposure to more things. When we talk about average or normal men who are LGBTSGL, they might have started one way and have become another way. And they might even have children and stuff from that previous way. But they generally don't have the resources to try A, B, C, and D on a regular basis. So there have been even a friend of mine used to work for some famous rappers. I won't tell you their names. But she was a nail technician. She's not a nail technician, no, she's actually a professor. And she talked about that because of their resources, they tried lots of things. Now, they publicly appear absolutely heterosexual, but they had some bisexual experiences and relationships because they had essentially the resources to control their domains or to move into different spaces. And let me tell you, you have a little bit of money, you think you're paying $20 to get into a cute party, paying $25. There are some parties that you pay a couple $100 to go into, and everybody's partying. So there's an expansion that happens with resources. An expansion is offered. The buffet is bigger. There's more things on the buffet. And generally the people who are at the buffet, on the buffet, they are more expensive. They might be more physically attractive or younger. Generally men peak in their financial stuff between 45, 65, 70. So that's why you see a lot of old men places or older men places. And you might see them with younger men because you make your real money between 45 and 75. Trust me on that one. So there are a few outliers that pop and burst in their 30s and stuff like that, your Zuckerbergs, but that's really, really unusual. It takes time for a person to grow and build their career and move just as a normal high-value man. So he may come into some resources over time and then start being invited to the buffet, start sampling some things off of the buffet, and then meet you, and you guys want to have a relationship, a special relationship. And he says, you know something, I do some things at the buffet. I don't know if you've ever been to the buffet, and you might go with him to the buffet, and you might enjoy some stuff at the buffet. You might, even when he suggests the buffet, so I'm not into buffets. I just like one meal for myself. But your next negotiation will be a high-value man may not, because of all it takes to be a high-value man, all of the work you have to do, all of the education you have to do, all of the dragon slaying you have to do, of all of the going into the jungle and killing an impala and putting it over your shoulder and coming back, and somebody telling you, no, I don't feel like doing it tonight. Part of testosterone is sexual, or it propels sexual energy, sexual desire, and there may not be, and we talk about resources and capabilities in that buffet, why should I have restrictions on my impulses if, and this is what you have to negotiate, if we have negotiated this to one, tell the other or invite the other. That's always been my rule in relationships. Rather than us expecting, you gonna love me forever, Porgy, and I'm gonna love you forever, Bess. Let's have a negotiation about telling the other or inviting the other. And then the third caveat in there is for it to be safe. Tell me, invite me, and if you do it safely. Don't bring nothing back. Don't bring back no children, don't bring back no STIs, no diseases, and don't bring back no drama. And we cool. Because, and I will tell you this is from my personal context as a high-value man, is my personal, even my spiritual beliefs kind of wrapped into this or infused into this. And there is even some social class stuff into this. Your body is your body. It's not my body. You are not my possession. We are married, we're together, we're spouses, there might even be rings involved. I don't know, like I said, I'm not, a big on marriage person, legal marriage person. There might be commitment ceremony and stuff like that. You are not my property. Now, we might talk and tease, yeah, that's my ass over there. We might talk and tease and stuff like that. But fundamentally, there's teasing and there's joking, and then there's truth. You are not my property. So what you choose to do with your body, I can have some discussions with you about, but I cannot have control over. And I feel the same way even for children. That I am your guide, I'm your mentor, I'm your parent, but I'm not your controller. Unless you're about to do something crazy in your immaturity or in your lack of growth. But you are not mine. And even to the context, and this brings us back to the Will Smith thing, when Will and Jada Pinkett Smith did not have rules for even their children's hair cutting. How do you want your hair? That's your hair. How do you want your... All I ask is that your hair be clean and reasonably pulled together for when we're in public. Because it's your hair. It's your hair. The hygiene is important. That's, there are little restrictions and boundaries about human stuff, but that is still yours to take care of. So, if I'm in a relationship with somebody, that's my discussion on monogamy. Don't bring no kids, don't bring no disease, don't bring no drama. Don't have anybody knocking at my door. Do not have anybody knock at my door, because there will be a problem. Somebody's knocking at my door, and they're not knocking at the door to include me into the party or the buffet that I've agreed to, or, we're meeting for the first time, all three of us, or four of us, or five of us, or how it's going to be. I don't know, guess what I'm doing with such and such. And I'd be like, keep doing it, because he likes that. And that's not really something I'm interested in doing, so work harder. Click. Use a condom. Could you please take a shower so I don't smell that cologne? Because I don't like that cologne, right? Okay, so your body is your body. But, open parentheses, pun, close parentheses, pun. But my body is not your body either. Now, we might not, or we might have differing levels. We talked about testosterone, sexual desire to do things, to go out, to try, blah, 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 blah. We might have different levels. You might want to. Open relationship. Generally, LGBTSGL relationships that last 6 months to a year start negotiating being open. What they generally do is between years 1, 3, and 5, open with some kind of parameters and some kind of restrictions and rules. None of my friends, none of my family, don't bring them home to my bed, no falling in love, no kissing, no S&M, whatever your rules and restrictions are that you negotiate. Remember, we're talking about negotiating monogamy, that you negotiate together, and then for that about 3 to 5 years open, and then close back up from 5 to 7 years. Those are the healthiest relationships. Because what they are doing, and this is even if we do the undercurrent of time here, what they are doing is they are making space for testosterone. That we've been together, so we're enhancing each other's testosterone levels, so there's more desire. So wait, before I hurt your feelings by doing something, let's negotiate what I'm thinking about doing, or what I feel like doing, or I'm more attractive so people want to do with me. And if we look at a time span, 1 year, 3 year, 5 years, 7 years, if you're with somebody that long, you're moving from different biological stages. And as you age, of course, you start producing less testosterone. So we might have opened it up year 2, year 3, year 5, year 7, and by the time we get to year 15, we don't do that. We used to go to these parties, we used to go to these vacation resorts and stuff like that, but literally, the estrogen started raising as we got a little chubbier, a little fatter, and the testosterone started lowering, so we didn't have that same push to do more impulsive, more sexual stuff. So, negotiating monogamy. Particularly with a high-value man, he will not be out in the world slaying dragons and come home just like, I'm just going to kiss the tip. Not because he doesn't love you or value you, but he might, in his own context and testosterone, because sometimes it takes a lot of testosterone, a lot of push, a lot of mental energy, a lot of assertiveness to slay dragons, he might want a little rough and tumble. And you might not fall into the desire for rough and tumble, or whom he wants to be rough and tumble with. He may not feel that kind of sexual energy towards you, particularly as a man. If more people, and more people are beginning to, or have no choice to, because the numbers just keep 70 to 80%. I don't understand how 70 to 80% of people fall into this, and everybody knows I hate the word cheat, because I think cheat suggests that you or I are a possession of something, and therefore I'm doing something duplicitous and cheating you out of using how I am and you are. And I disagree with that, the context of cheating, because that brings in a commerce, capitalistic kind of thought wave to it. That not telling, being non-monogamous, being duplicitous, rather than going through all that bullshit, just negotiate monogamy. You know something? Even in past relationships, I've had discussions, and we've had discussions in our relationship, but what's your fantasy? And somebody, a relationship, has said, and we were living together, and everything was cool and great and loving, and he said, I've always wanted to be with several tops. He was the bottom, and he said, he always wanted to be with 3 or 4 tops, and I was like, okay, and he was like, but I don't mean like every other day, like maybe like some wild birthday or celebration or vacation or something like that, just to be the center of all of that sexualized energy. And I was like, oh, okay. And then he said, but, pun here, I would think now that I'm in a relationship, or when I thought about it in the context of a relationship, that I would want you to be there and participating, because then I would know it was safe, that you wouldn't let me be hurt. And at the same time, that though means that you have to be comfortable or capable of watching me be sexual with others. And so there's a lot of negotiation in there. We negotiated and said, well, okay, well, are you looking at friends? Are you people you know already? Well, Bob and Ted and Harry, we've kind of teased and joked about it, and he said, no, I think that actually probably would work best if we hired some escorts, and we chose them and which ones we found attractive, and you could be sexual with them too, and but there would be a sexual focus on me with you there so that I'd be safe, or making sure that I was safe. And I was like, oh, that's really interesting. And not that it was really interesting in a kind of, oh my God, he's out of his fucking mind, the relationship is over, but that, this happened in my 20s, I had thought about that. And I had thought about even further, even having relationships before, I've had several relationships, before that somebody, he was constantly juggling back and forth and juggling, trying to be in a relationship with me and trying to be in a relationship with a girl, a young lady. And I accepted that he could be bisexual. I was like, something, if I'm going to be in a relationship with this person, I have to accept that I think he's bisexual, and this element will always exist, this need, this desire. So what do I need to negotiate for my emotional security and safety and physical and psychic and biological and safe sex and all that kind of stuff? What do I need to negotiate for that? And I would say that what ended that relationship was that he couldn't accept that he was bisexual. Because he didn't know how to, to eat at the buffet, essentially. I could accept being omnisexual. Oh, yeah, okay. And whether or not that included me or I participated or stuff like that, that'd be a whole nother negotiation, but he couldn't even get past the front door of the more than one sex present in your dynamic discussion. And that limitation from him, I found him to be limited, and that's what ended that relationship. But I will say that in the breadth of the relationship, he was at the front door having trouble getting through the foyer. I was already on the second floor being like, well, what's her name? Is she cute? So You know, if he just come up the stairs a little bit, then it could have been a bit of party, baby. So that's what you have to think about in monogamy. That, and straight people play, heterosexual people play, and understand that it's play. Or that it's dynamic, or interest, or hoo-hoo, or, you know, my husband and my brother, not my brother, my husband or a male, you know, stuff has happened and they do stuff, or two women together with their husbands. So they understand play because there's a space of bisexual, gay play, trans play. People who are LGBTSGL, they have worked so hard to publicly not be doubtful. I am what I am, and that's what I am, and make no excuses. I am what I am. That it becomes very rigid and difficult and boxed in to say, oh, well, it might also include blah, 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 blah. Because then people are like, okay, come on. You said you were gay, and now who's she? What's going on here? So what we have to do, and as I talked about, high value people with resources, people with more education, more time, moving around, generally older. That's why sometimes it happens in an older expansion with younger people. Younger people, there's a mid-generation, it's about Generation X, it's a little tight-assed. Younger people have had more broader ideas of bisexuality, pansexuality, omnisexuality, tried some stuff in college, maybe some transsexuality, all different kinds of things in those contexts, broader. So you get older, you get a little broader too, because you're like, well, all of the reasons why you restricted yourself in lots of social and moral and religious and drama ways, a lot of those people are dead. A lot of those things don't make sense anymore. You realize that, you know, God's not sending someone with a lightning bolt. He doesn't care about what you do with your fingers. So you, and, you know, you go to Ibiza. You go, oh, well, I didn't know that this happened, or that this could happen, or this was available to happen. So I tried it, and I did it, and I liked it, and, you know, and I've liked it for years now, and that's where I go every Christmas. So that's not just monogamy, negotiating what monogamy looks like with a high-value man.
They don't wanna see me naked, they don't wanna see me care. Anytime I make some progress, I can see that they compare. I think everyone's against me, maybe something in the air. Am I paranoid? I swear a void is forming and they're scared. I walk a straight path, not many can say that. I like to play fast, cross me and there's payback. You better pray that I don't see your face at any place that I go. I know you hate that. I've been doing fine, I'm not wasting any more time. I live for the fight and the climb, and I think that the pain that's deep inside is what defines. So I won't give up, I'm gonna make it to the top. I don't care what's in my way, I swear I'm never gonna stop. I could fall flat on my face and I swear I will get back up, cause I don't deserve a thing and the road ahead is tough. They'll try to kick you while you're down, they wanna rise up while you drown. They wanna fill your head with doubt, they're silently scared that you'll figure it out. I'll make it look like I'm losing, won't bother hiding my bruises. And when they finally think you're wounded, then it's your chance to be ruthless.